How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to City Skylines Nerdköping. I certainly hope you're having a good one because I am excited to be back. It feels like it was last year since we got that out of the way at the start of the video. Get the old last year joke out of the way nice and early. That way it doesn't come up later unexpectedly. Take you by surprise and have you going, oh God, why? Really setting the standard for the channel moving into 2021. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. I do hope you're having a good one. As I said in the Panic Challenge video earlier this week as well, I hope you had a fantastic holiday season, new year, and all that good stuff. I do have a couple of things to show you around Nerdköping. There have been a few changes, some considerably sizable changes at that aren't going to be immediately obvious. But before we get to that, I just want to throw out a question because I am curious. I'm using a different microphone today. I bought a broadcast studio headset thing a couple of years ago, maybe a year or two ago, and I thought it was broken. It turns out it wasn't. So I'm using that again. I'm using a headset microphone, and if I've done my job right in setting it up, it should sound almost completely the same to the microphones I've used previously in this series. I'm just curious to know, does it sound different to you? Does it sound better? Does it sound worse? Do you prefer how I sound in this video, or do you prefer how I sounded in previous episodes of this series? I'm just curious is all. I think it sounds fine. I'm happy with it, but I'd be just as happy to go and use the microphones we've been using before. I just like this because I can move around and there's no microphone in my face and I can wave my hands around even though you can't see it, and it's just kind of nice. Anyway, let's get into some cities skylines. So the first and most noticeable change to Nerdköping, at least for the city, is going to be this area here on the right, which I decided to just fill in with a bunch of residential zoning. There is some commercial in there. There's a little bit of office zoning as well, but I wanted to fill this space in with some residential zoning just to push the population up a little bit and see how things go in this area, because since the last episode, I've probably put about 10 hours into this save, which isn't something I usually do in City Skylines. I did stream about 3 of those hours, but 7 of that was off stream and off camera because I was sort of messing about with traffic, and you can sort of see that traffic isn't really doing too good in this area, but believe it or not, it's better than it used to be. The reason I spent so much time dealing with traffic problems was because this road here was backing up the entire way across this bridge. Now, traffic is still backing up in a lot of areas. Traffic flow in Nerdköping is not amazing, but it is currently sitting at 75%, which is 15% higher than it was when I started making all of these changes. You'll also notice I've added another roundabout and highway connection to this end of the city. I thought that was kind of important to do because it lets traffic get in and out of the city from this side where they don't need to use this bridge and they don't need to cross over into the Old Town, which, by the way, I've renamed to Old Town West, Old Town East, and we've got Nerdköping Central Station right here as well. There's a few more changes in that area that we'll cover in just a second, but this space here has been the main focus of all of my changes. You've probably seen one of the other things that I did. I put this bridge in here, and we also have some metro lines coming over here now as well, kind of similar to what I did over here with the above ground metro line. I thought it was quite important to get some public transport coming into this area. I've seen a bunch of comments talking about getting some public transport into Gronstad, so I thought it was probably about time to get some proper buses coming down here, so I redid the bus lines and get some metro coming in here, so I decided to build up the metro lines. Now, that's not the only thing that I did. Before I get into that, though, there is just one other change to show you, which is this connection over here, which I know looks weird and it has this weird corner to it. That's just because it has that. There's no real reason for it. I just couldn't get this. I couldn't get this angle to be perfect, and it kind of annoyed me, so I did this instead. And we're probably going to fill out this area maybe today. We'll see. I also connected this little road, so it's another sort of little regional countryside road that leads up to around about here, and you can see where that goes. It goes up to the little town there as well. I thought that was kind of nice. We could probably do some farms out here, and I think we do have some farming space, so we could do a little bit of farming industry out there at some point, which I think would be lovely. But I think the biggest change that I made to Nerdköping was I went in and I redid all of the metro. I went in, I took out all of the lines, I took out all of the stations, and I replaced, I think, almost all of them. There's one or two that are still where they were originally. But I decided to use the central station because it actually has, if we have a look here, it does have some platforms underneath it, and you can see that one right there. It's a little hard to see because it's red and the building is red as well. But you can see that it is very popular, and that's kind of what I want it to be. We're also using these trains here because they look a bit like the DLR trains in London. But what I'm thinking of doing with that line is, since in my mind that's going to be a much more modern line, you know, it obviously cuts through the old town, but I think that would be a much more modern line. I think we're going to go in. Now, this thing has a capacity of 300. I want to look at the details of this line. There's 2 trains on it. They're both M100s. What if we used something else? So let's have a little look here and see what kind of vehicles we're dealing with, because I'm curious to see if anything would be better. So we have the American Classic Subway, which is decent. We have the M100s. We have the R160, the R32s, the R46. I think the American Classic Subway would be the one to go for here. It's not quite as modern as I would like it to be. Obviously, kind of the metro trains themselves are a little bit more modern there. But I think we're going to use the American Classic Subway for this line, and I think what we'll probably end up doing, so we'll go ahead and remove 2 vehicles there. We'll add 2 of the, let's add 3 of them. That might be too much, but let's add 3 of them, and we'll see how that ends up going, and we'll see if that ends up doing us any favors. I'm pretty sure those are going to be having a bit of a smaller capacity than the trains from before, but that's because I went in and modified the M100s. Now I'm curious to see what these end up looking like as well. So they are, yeah, we're going to need to get ourselves some new subways. I also don't know how I feel about 180 passengers there. I feel like that's very low. I'm going to be honest. That feels way too low. Let's edit the vehicle type. Let's bring passenger capacity up to, I want to say 300. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I'm going to say 300 because, I mean, I don't know how many people would fit on this. Maybe 50 per thing. It doesn't matter. Whatever. We've got 300 there, so we can now move 900 people on this line at any one time with the 3 trains that we have. And I think I will go to the workshop and I will find some better looking, not better looking, those are great looking models, but I mean, I want very modern looking trains. And I guess by modern, what I mean is I want something that looks a bit like this for my metro lines. I think that would be kind of cool going over to the new area. But for the time being, we'll have that sort of American subway train just go back and forth there, and it can move people about and hopefully get them going over in that direction in a pretty good way. Now, like I said, I rebuilt all of the metro. I figured that was probably for the best. You can see here, this line sort of goes out, it goes to this station, it goes around, it goes to here. It's just a dead-end line. But what it does have is a bus stop just around the corner from it here, and a bus stop down here. So you can get onto a bus and go to a lot of different places in this area. Obviously, we still have the connections to this bus station here. Now, I did also redo all my bus lines. I should probably mention that as well. I redid all of those as well. There's actually fewer bus lines than there were before. Previously, we had 15 of them. We now have 10. That's because the metro is picking up a lot of the slack that the bus lines were sort of causing, so things just work a little better than they did before, despite having fewer bus lines. The city buses are still very much red, still BA 1414. The well, not intercity because that's actually a thing in City Skylines, but the buses that go from the city to the town are now gold, and there's still the good old double-deckers there. And there's actually 2 lines of those buses. There's one that goes from the town to this depot right here, and there's one that goes from the town to this depot over here. And I mean, you can see it's still pretty popular. So basically, I just decided to go in and do as much as I could to improve public transport, to lower the number of traffic jams, to improve the flow of traffic. And I like to think I've kind of done it. Yes, this area here is suffering, but it will eventually get better, I'm sure. And I'm also thinking it might not be a terrible idea to expand the metro out into this area, because we could absolutely do it. Now, we could take this line here, for example, and push it underground, but I think what would be easier is just expand this one. So let's just go ahead and throw some metro stations in here, because we do have a few things that people are going to want to go to. They're going to want to go to the hospital. There's a university there as well, but there's a bunch of parking lots around here as well. So people are probably going to be kind of keen to come into this area. Now, one thing I also want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to use a bit of anarchy just to upgrade these roads to stop people from parking on them. I think that would be a pretty good idea. And I'm going to do these kind of roads here as well. That way the ambulances kind of have to come in and then loop around, and it's whatever. That way people aren't going to park on those roads, meaning the parking lots will be a little bit more useful, I suppose. And I guess what we could also do is, because we have a high school here as well, we can go in, we can take out this parking lot, and we can put a metro station right there. And I think that's going to be a fantastic spot for a metro station. And I reckon we do the same with a metro station just down on this corner. Not super far apart from each other, but I think just far enough that they're going to be pretty useful regardless of them being kind of close. So we'll get a nice line going between them there. And we'll go ahead and bring this guy over to about here. We'll bring you out a little bit. And then we do actually need to curve this. I'm not entirely sure why I suddenly need to start curving these, but I've noticed that my metro lines don't really behave all too well when I don't properly curve them. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to say that you can go to there and you can go to there. And then you go to there and you go to there. And that'll be, I think, a pretty good expansion of the metro line. That's actually a pretty long line as well, but it's going to service this area really nicely. So I am kind of okay with that. Now, what I'm also thinking is that we could probably go in and grab a bus line extension into this area as well. So if I was to grab this line, and if I was to say, bring it up into some of this space, maybe to there, for example, that doesn't seem like a terrible thing to do. So it just gives a little bit of bus coverage to this area. And what I might actually do with it is a bus stop right there. And move this. Well, let's just keep that one there. Or maybe a little. No, right there is fine. I think we can just take that one out. So that'll be okay right there, I think. I was thinking we could put some crossings in here, but I don't think we're going to need it because we do have crossings just up here. What I would like to do, though, is I want to change up this road a little bit, and I'm just going to put some grass on it. I am going to need to use anarchy to do this, and then I'm going to need to turn off zoning in some of these spaces. But the reason I wanted to do the grass there is so we have that little cutaway for the buses to actually stop on. which again is pretty good for traffic flow. I think I've explained that a couple of times, but I think that'll be pretty good. And that'll hopefully keep people relatively happy. And like I said, they've got some crossings down here. They've got some crossings up here. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world if they have to walk a little bit to get to those crossings. Now, are people, yeah, they are absolutely using the metro line there, and they are absolutely using it there as well. And we have a bunch of crossings on this road. We have these pedestrian paths through here, so people can get to that metro line pretty easily. But, well, they have to walk up there and around. Would it be better to put a crossing in there? It might be. It might be better to do that. I'm not going to do that, but it might not be a bad idea. I think what I will do is I'm gonna put a parking lot just in there, and I'm gonna put a path on it as well. So parking lot right there with a cheeky little pedestrian path on it so people can walk through there. So something like, ooh. Okay, I was hoping it wasn't going to do that, but okay. Well, we can fix that. Let me just go ahead and grab those nodes and get rid of that ugly section of road. I was wanting to use, I don't really want to use this pedestrian path because it has the lights on it, but I guess I can just move it so the light's in the middle. But then people are going to be walking through. Well, I guess they're going to be walking through vehicles either way. Okay. Well, I guess that'll be fine. It might be a little bit weird, but it kind of lets them walk through the parking lot to, you know, get into that area, which I think is fair enough. So that's fine. We're going to let them do that, and that'll hopefully keep them nice and happy. I'm thinking over here, we could probably do something similar. We don't need to go through the parking lot, though. We can just go to here. And I think we might need to just extend it a little bit. So bring it over to, say, that spot. Extend it up to that spot. And there we go. People can sort of walk through there straight onto that road and get straight to the metro station, which is fantastic. So having a look at it, it is pretty busy there. It is reasonably busy down there as well. We've got 2,000 people using the metro, 1,000 using the trains, 1,189 using the buses. And honestly, that makes me really happy. I love seeing decent numbers. I mean, we have 52,000 people, so those numbers are actually, I don't know if those are good numbers. I don't know if those are good numbers for, you know, the number of people we have in the city, but I like it. So I don't think it's so bad. I think we're doing okay here. I think we've got a good number of people using public transport. Now, I do want to come away from this area for a little bit because I want to have a look at my fishing industry, because we now have the ability to get things like anchovy fishing harbors and salmon fishing. Yes, salmon. Yes, I'm doing that on purpose. Fishing harbors as well. So what I'm thinking we do is we put an anchovy fishing harbor into this space and we send the boats all the way down the river, because I think that's going to look really cool. So basically bulldoze that, and then I need to somehow throw in a perfect anchovy fishing harbor, which I can do right there apparently. Lovely. Okay, that worked out really well. Fantastic. Can I grab that node and just lower it slightly because it's having some problems there? And then just go ahead and connect you two together. I totally can. Perfect. Look at that. All right, let's turn off zoning on that section of road. And I guess set up a new fishing line. Oh my God, that's difficult to see what I'm doing. Let me bulldoze this one. Let's just get you out of there for the time being, because I cannot for the life of me tell what the hell I'm looking at right there. So that bit can stay. That bit's fine. The anchovy fishing section, I mean, I feel like I'm going to have to expand the river slightly. I'll be honest, I feel like the river probably does need to be just expanded a tiny little bit. So bring the strength down. Let's just sort of push it back like this. I'll smooth this out in a little bit, but I just want that extra bit of room there so that I can, you know, not have the boats doing weird things. So really weak brush there for smoothing, and just hit it very, very gently with a smoothing brush, and there we go. All right, so we'll let that fill up a little bit, which it's kind of doing. I'm gonna be honest, I'd be tempted to just put another water spawn point in there. I absolutely could do that. You know, just something like, let's see, something like this. Sort of bring the water up to about that height. I don't think that would be so bad. I mean, it's gonna look at flooding the city a little bit further down there, but I don't think it actually will flood the city because the water is gonna, let's find out. Let's see what this does. Is it gonna flood the city? I certainly hope not. While we wait for that to happen though, let's go ahead and start putting in this this fishing line here. And I'm just gonna go with a bit of a straight shot there. And we'll slowly bring it around. And I do want to avoid, because there is some anchovy spots just here. I want to kind of avoid those because I want these boats to go down past the London Eye there. Now they're gonna hit some spots there, but that's fine. We'll bring it down this way, and then we'll sort of loop it back on itself, kind of underneath the bridge there. And I think that'll be fine. I think that'll probably be enough space for the boats to fill up on anchovies. So we'll just go ahead and bring this all the way back nicely around here, and then very, very carefully into there. So that'll be fine, and that will get working soon enough. This area actually did fill up pretty well. This area looks like it could maybe end up flooding, but I think we're going to be okay because I think the majority of the additional water is going to flow downstream. If it floods, it floods. All right. If it floods, it floods. If it happens, it happens. It's fine, I'm sure. Now let's go ahead and do a kind of similar setup over here for the good old salmon fishing. Even though this is just a generic fishing spot that we have here, but we'll do a little bit of salmon fishing over here, and I'm hoping that'll be enough space for the salmon boats. But I'm not gonna stop saying salmon. People got really triggered the last time I pronounced it salmon. So I'm just leaning into it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just leaning into it. It's such an insignificant thing that people got irrationally angry about. And I'll be honest, don't get me wrong. This is I'm one of those people. I don't get annoyed by salmon. I think that's funny because I think it's funny because I think the pronunciation in itself is just funny, right? I think salmon, it's a great mispronunciation of the word. What I am one of those people that does get a little bit annoyed by mispronunciation though. For example, look at this quay, right? So, you know, a little bit of payback for everyone. Everyone's like, you're mispronouncing key. It's quay. Okay. All right. So we have the anchovy boats coming down. They're doing their thing. Are they actually getting to fill up? Let's have a little look here. 75, 76, 77. They might not actually get to fill up by the time they start heading back. But I mean, 90%, over 90%, 95%, whatever it might end up being. 98. So if I expand it a little bit, they'll actually fill up. So let's do that. Let's just bring it down here, then sort of bring it around, and then kind of bring it, you know, back on itself. I think we'll be pretty good here. So something like that should be fine for the boats. That'll let them fill up, and then they can head back upriver, you know, through the rapids coming down here. And, you know, bunch of anchovies. So that'll get us a bit more money, which I think is fantastic. And I am kind of happy about that. We got a bit more of the fishing industry going there. Now, we do have some major traffic problems down here, which I really don't appreciate. I really don't know what to do with these traffic problems down here. We did have a roundabout at one point, obviously, but The roundabout was backing up. Traffic wasn't really moving all that well. I did try putting in a bunch of different junctions here, but it didn't really work too well. For the most part, it seems like a lot of it is traffic coming from here in Hamilton Heights that's going over that way, which makes me reluctant to fill up this space. I gotta be honest. I'm not so sure about filling up that space. But when I look at it, I mean, there is no public transport going into Hamilton Heights other than the one train station. And I realize as well, I have no buses coming out into some of these new areas. So let's go ahead and pause the game again, and let's bring some public transport out into these areas. So let's start, where the hell am I going to start here? Let's start here, and let's bring some bus lines over to, I guess, this space here. So we'll start by adding a stop to there. And then I'm kind of thinking we bring the buses, for some reason they want to go that way. I want to bring the buses in here, but then we're kind of missing out on Myrtle Square and all that. But they do have bus connections, you know, they do absolutely have bus connections. I think what we do is, wait, how am I going to do this? What way have I done this? Oh, this entire area is weirdly disconnected from each other. I am not sure what I've done here. What if I brought it that way? It's still going to have to come over the same bridge. Okay. So we'll do a bus stop here. We'll do a bus stop here. And then I think I am going to bring a bus sort of along down here. I think we did have a bus that went this way at one point as well. So that's fine. Bring you back a little bit. I don't know why that wants to turn in like that. That's kind of frustrating. We'll do a stop there, I guess, and have it sort of turn weirdly. But we'll have this come up to here. We could have it go into this area. I don't know if that's going to be necessary. But yeah, I think we'll kind of have it do... Oh, it connects up there as well. So I could have it go in there and out that way if I wanted it to, which I kind of don't hate the idea of. I gotta be honest. So if we brought a bus up in there and then brought it back this way, it's a bit of a weird line, but I think we could do it and then bring it back out sort of over this kind of top road here. This might work out. I don't know if it will, but sure, we'll do that. It kind of loops back on itself. That's a really weird line, but I'm gonna give it... Oh, do I want to do it that way? I'm trying to work this out. Do I actually want to do it this way, or do I want to bring it... I kind of want to bring it directly back on itself, I think, rather than having it loop around in a weird way. I don't know why it's doing that. That's a little frustrating. So we'll have it stop there instead. We'll have it stop there. Why would it go down there to do that? Apparently it needs to go down there to do that. That's really strange. I don't know what's going on with some of these turns. I've absolutely messed up something in terms of layout here. But we'll have you go to there. We'll have you come out and go to there. And then we'll just have it come back in on itself. And I don't know what line this is. It's probably, what is it? City line number 5. So CITY line 5. We're going to do, oh, I need to go in here to do this. The color, obviously BA 1414. And then the vehicle type, I mean, I imagine it's going to be a pretty busy line. So I don't, either the Citaro C, we could do the L concept isn't too bad. It's 95 people. We could do the G20. I think we'll do the G20. So let's do the G20 and go ahead and say city line number 5, G20, and then I need to go in here and select it as well. So Citaro G20 right there. And we'll see if that ends up being a popular line. It's a massive line, but it goes out into the area. It comes back. It does its thing. And looking at this, I wonder if I was to control click all of these junctions, is that going to make this better? Or is that going to make this worse in terms of what that bus line can do? There we go. So now it goes straight on. That's better. We've got this guy sort of coming in here. This is probably a completely unnecessary stop right here, I'm going to be honest. But yeah, let's get rid of you. I don't think we need one on the other side there. People can just walk around the corner. Really, I could argue the same for this one. They can just walk over to the train station, but let's not get into that for the time being. Let's just see how this goes. But I'm curious. I think that'll be useful. You know, we don't have a metro going out there, but we do have a bus line going out there. And I'm gonna try something else that might not work amazingly here, but I want to give it a shot. I want to do a sort of ring road of, or a loop of buses. So I want to do there. I'm thinking, is there a pedestrian path that comes through this area anywhere? There's one right there. So let's do this next one, I guess, up here. So right there. We're going to bring this out and over the bridge. And I'm going to bring it up to share that stop. I think that'd be pretty good. We're going to bring it around. And I could bring it down and in there. But then I'd be completely avoiding that space out there, huh? Do I want to go out there? I mean, I technically can. I could bring sort of a bus down in here. And there isn't actually a bus line that comes out here. So this might be kind of useful. There's a metro station right there as well. So let's give it a shot, I guess. So we'll have a bus that comes in there. And then it does unfortunately avoid a good chunk of that space there. I don't know how I feel about that, but it'll be fine. We'll bring it into that space. We'll bring it down to, oh boy, what way am I going to connect all of this? We'll bring it down to, I guess, here. We can technically bring it into the middle of the city if we really wanted to. I don't know how I feel about that. That might be all sorts of messy. But it might not be a terrible idea to have it connect there so people can kind of get onto this bus line, as messy as it might end up being. We're going to bring it out and we're going to put it there. And we're going to kind of continue it around. I think we will put a stop here and we'll just connect it like that. And that is going to be, I need to pause the game. Oh, no. BA 1414. Vehicle type, I think, can be the Volvo double-decker. And that is going to be the city loop one. So that way, you can get on a bus and you can go around the entire city if you really want to. And I'd almost be tempted to do another one that goes in the opposite direction because I feel like that might not be a terrible idea. So let's give that a shot, I guess. And now that that's done, we can see the first of the Volvo double-deckers heading out, doing their thing, which is a lovely sight, if I do say so myself. I'm actually kind of excited to see how this goes, although I will say I'm not too keen on having very busy bus stops right here. I'm not so sure how I feel about that because they're going to be stopping on the road. And I think that might end up coming back to be a bit of a pain in the butt. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see what that ends up doing. We do have what looks like a good number of people waiting for the loop right there, which is lovely. And I would imagine we'll hopefully see a good number of people waiting for the loop over here as well. Yeah, we got a decent number. And then over this way, I don't know where the next bus stop actually happens to be. It's right about there. Yeah, good number. It's not the busiest line. I don't think it's going to be the busiest line. But what I think it will do is maybe maybe it can take a little bit of the traffic away from Hamilton Heights and have some people be like, you know what, I'm going to take the bus because there's now a bus that can get me from Hamilton Heights over to Chester Square. Hopefully that's going to deal with some of the traffic issues. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but I kind of hope it does. It would be nice. It would be really nice. Now what I do want to do is I want to have a look at this area before we start wrapping things up for the day, because I don't want to have this episode run on for, you know, just an hour of straight traffic and public transport management. I don't think that would be the most exciting thing I could do today, but I want to look at this area and I want to look at maybe filling it in or coming out here and doing some farming industry. Because if we have a look at it, we do have some farmland, and I think this would be a good place for some farming industry. We could also do some forestry out here as well. But I want to experiment with a little bit of farmland. So let's get ourselves, I think a dirt road would be fair enough for this. I don't think it needs to be anything too fancy. Wherever the hell the dirt roads are. I can never find these. What is this? When did I get a cobblestone road? I don't remember getting a cobblestone road, but I apparently have a cobblestone road. Ooh. I don't know how I feel about that cobblestone road. I like it. I don't like that it doesn't connect though. But that's fine. Did I go past? What is this? Wait, what the hell? Hold on, what? Is that that's another okay. I have a lot of roads that apparently I didn't know I had. I don't even know what these are. So I think this will be a pretty good spot for the farm. I think this looks kind of nice right there in the middle of that field. Obviously doesn't have power or water right now, but that's fine. We do have a very neat, if I do say so myself, district for Orchard Farm, which I want a name for. So any suggestions in the comments below, please, because I've got no idea what to call this. But we do have the option for things like crop fields and for fruit fields and for animal pastures as well. Now, what I'm thinking I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to bring a road out to here. And I want to bring a road up like this. And what I'd like to do is I want to throw and I want Prop and Tree Anarchy off for this. I'm going to throw a couple of these crop fields right there and right here, and that'll give us a nice little set of fields back there. And then what I kind of want to do is I want to line those in bushes, and I want to start putting different fields in there and sort of surrounding it in different things. So my thinking would be leave a gap and then do something like this. Those are buildings. Those are not what I wanted at all. Let's do some apple fields there, because I think that might look interesting. Although a building, you know, a big old building would be kind of cool out here as well. But we'll do this for the time being. So bring that down to there and throw another one of these guys there. And then let's sort of, I don't know, angle this ever so slightly if we can. Which I guess we probably could. Maybe something like, I don't know, something like this. Let's see what we can do. So 15 there. Bring you down. We'll turn on the guidelines and get a nice little curve there. And I think, yeah, that's still inside the area. So we can just go ahead and throw some more fields on there. I think fields are going to be kind of what I'm mainly looking for with all of this. And let's set these guys to be wheat fields, because I think that's just going to look better. So just wheat in all of these. We got some apples. Why is it on fire? I literally just built it. Why is it on fire? I don't understand. How? How did this happen? Immediately. It immediately caught. How? How did they manage that? There's literally no way out here. I don't even know. I honestly don't even know. genuinely, I'm slightly mad at that. Only slightly. I gotta be honest. Part of me is impressed, to tell you the truth. You know, part of me is actually impressed that they managed to set the thing on fire within minutes of it being built. Okay, so this is the layout that I'm thinking for the farm. I think it looks fine. I'd probably be inclined to put some more fields just here in the front, but I'm not going to do that just yet. What I do want to do with this, though, is I want to go ahead and I want to grab some bushes, and I'm not really sure what ones to go for. We do have some different types that we could go for. We have these wild ones, which are interesting looking. We have these guys. We have these little guys as well. We have these ones, which are the base game ones. But I'm basically trying to find something that if I stack them together in the right way, they're going to have a very particular look to them. Now, these ones you can't even see, so never mind. These ones light up, so they're going to be a no-go, and these ones are too big. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to look to, I think, these guys. Let's give these a shot and see what they do. Now, my thinking for these is that basically I'm going to go in like this, and these, we might actually need to go for some bigger bushes on this. We really might need to go for some bigger bushes on this. Wow, I didn't really think about that. Or I guess I could just use move it to push these all together a bit further. But regardless, what I want to do is I want to come in like this. And I want to bring these guys together quite a bit. So they're going to be brought together like this and turned into sort of a way to outline each of the fields. But I'll be honest, I don't know what the right kind of bushes to use for this would be. Maybe some small oak trees or something. Certainly not those ones. Certainly not those ones. And these ones will light up, like I said. These guys don't work. Those guys are too big. These are pine bushes, which are not, I mean, they're the ones we were using. The base game ones might be for the best. Maybe. So I find these guys right here, these wild, dark hedge things, and I think they're kind of perfect for what I want to do here. And the farm just leveled up lovely. So these guys work really, really well for what I want to do. I'm just sort of dotting them around the highway right now. But if I zoom out a little bit, you can sort of see they really nicely just outline everything. So that's kind of what I'm going to do with all of these different fields, is I'm just going to outline them in these hedges and then basically just go ahead and fill everything else in with various trees and whatnot. I think that would be kind of cool. So we're going to try and make this place just look a little overgrown in places, essentially. I'm going to do stuff like this as well, even though these particular fields are actually on that road. We'll sort of block it off a little bit. These orchards really should probably have fences around them, thinking about it. But I don't know if I really care enough to do fences around the orchards. I don't really think I want to do that. Although I guess they would probably have a little bit more space around them, given that they're orchards. So let's bring this out to about there and bring it down like that. So it looks like, you know, vehicles can kind of get in around the trees there kind of nicely. Bring this guy down like that, and doesn't really need to be perfect. That's the one thing about this that I'm kind of liking. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. So something like that kind of works out. I'm not really sure why it wouldn't continue over though. So maybe we've got this like weird space in there. I don't know. I could put a path up in there, or I could put a road up in there with silos on it, I guess. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's just throw a road in there and put some silos on it. So do that. We'll turn off zoning there, and we can go ahead and say, you know, there's 4 more silos, which will probably generate a hell of a lot of traffic, but that's fine. It's fine. If anything, we're probably going to need some roundabouts in this area, but it's fine. We'll not stress too much about it. Let's just go ahead then, and I don't remember what the keybind is for the tree brush. So what I'm going to do is very small but slightly strong brush. I'm just going to sort of try and dot some trees in here. I might just have to do this manually looking at it because this is not really an effective brush. Let's just do it manually one at a time, which I'll be honest, oh man, saying manually placing trees one at a time just gave me flashbacks to one of my first City Skylines series where, funnily enough, I was building a farm kind of a bit like this, but obviously, you know, without the actual farming DLC. But I remember placing, I think that I did a rough count of about 2,000 to 3,000 individual bushes for this exact same thing, the edgings of some fields. It's a lot. I still remember that to this day, and that was years ago. There we go. I think this is a decent little start to a potentially decent farming industry. I think we could do some more farming on the other side of the river there. We could actually do a bunch of little farms just the entire way up the river, including that space there too. And I think that would look really cool. I think that would be a really good way to start filling out more of the countryside there. I didn't really plan on doing this today at all either. Like I said, I was going to do this space, but I kind of like this. I like that it's functional too. I like that, unlike the farms I've built in the past for things like Emerald County or that series way back when, these are functional. These will actually generate some revenue. And we're probably going to need somewhere to actually export a lot of this too, but that's fine. We'll get that eventually. We also have, well, we have these barns, which I guess we could store some crops in if we really wanted to as well. Slightly tempting to throw some of those in. We do have this as well, though. We can start making flour. We can start making, we've got the cattle shed as well. So we could start looking into some different things. We also have the Farmworkers Barracks, which, oh, okay, it leveled up again. We have the Farmworkers Barracks, which, I'll be honest, we could throw a couple of these in as well if we really wanted to. Might look a little bit weird having them there, but, well, you know what? Let's just move them over to the side there. So they're kind of away from the main house. Or even, where else could I put them? Where else could I put these? Can I put one up here? I absolutely can, although I probably want to turn Prop and Tree Anarchy off before I do that. So right about there for a Farmworkers Barracks. I think we'll bring this road out to there a little bit. And we'll go ahead and throw just a couple of trees into that space to kind of blend it together a little bit better. So something kind of like that, I think, works. And maybe a couple of trees just in there as well. So we have a Farmworkers Barracks up that way. And I feel like what we could do is tear out some of these trees, bring this road over, which for some reason is going to be elevated. I'd like it to be ground level, please. So there, which is a bit weird looking for that field. So let's just lower you slightly, and let's just lower you ever so slightly. I'm gonna need to put some bushes across there, but then we can just throw the other barracks back there, and I think that'll be fine. So yeah, that looks all right. Kind of pushes it back a little bit. I like that. Gonna need some water though, so let's just bring a pipe up there, and let's just go ahead and throw more of these bushes into this space, just to sort of, you know, push that back even further. So bring the spacing way down to about there. And that seems pretty solid. I reckon what we could do is actually bring this over as well, just to further divide up that space. And I'll tell you what we'll even do is we'll throw, obviously, a few more of these trees in, just to blend this all together. So just dot a few of those around like that. And I think that looks all right. But I want to throw a couple of, maybe a couple of trees in here as well. Definitely not that close together. But I think a couple of little trees just in there to explain why there might be that kind of weird gap going on. So something like that. I think that looks all right. I think that's kind of a nice way to explain why that gap would be back there. So So that works. That's a farm. That's the start of a big old farming industry. And now that we're unlocking more things, I mean, we're probably gonna need to get ourselves another industrial area somewhere for the farming factories and whatnot. But I like this. I do like this a lot. Let's have a little bit of a look at public transport. Buses are up to over 2,000 people. Trains have actually come down a bit, which is interesting. But I imagine... Now, if we have a little look here. So City Loop 2 was never renamed. City Loop 2. If I sort these, and then what's the busiest one? City Line 5 is the busiest line by far. What is City Line 5 and where does it go? So let's have a little bit of a look here. So City Line 5 is that one. It's the one that comes out here. So yeah, that absolutely has taken a good number of people, you know, off of the roads and put them into buses. That's fantastic. Okay, well, this is new. The bus lines have been redone. The trains have been redone. The metro has been redone. I like it. I think we're in a pretty good place to go ahead and start building out some more farming, start putting in a new industry area for the farming factories and whatnot. We could even maybe do that over here. Although this might be no, this will probably be too close to the city center. So maybe maybe all the way back there. So the farming industry has to go the whole way through the city to get there. Although technically it can hit this highway and sort of go around, but knowing my luck, they'll go through the middle of the city. I guess we'll find out. Either way, thanks for watching, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure as always, and as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.